32. Item of business is the resolution to approve the policy regarding the parks. I did got an opportunity to read the resolution and the language. Does anybody have any comments about the resolution that we are presenting? City Manager, did you want to talk about that?
Certainly, Madam Chairman. Over the last year, the city experienced a number of problems with events taking place at City Center Park. Most of them had to do with the numbers of people that came or showed up at the event, whether they were part of it or not. And the difficulty in terms of trying to control that in the middle of downtown with the state highway route in front and open streets on all remaining sides of it. Discussed these a number of times with our public safety department, and really it just comes down to a situation where it's impossible to control it. And I decided that in keeping with the ordinance concerning parks that makes it the responsibility of the manager to recommend policies to be acted upon by the commission if they agree, that we would just eliminate doing any kind of private events at City Center Park. That in addition, we would begin to charge a small fee at the other parks along with the requirement that they put a deposit down and that we would uphold at least $50 to dispose of the trash and so forth. At all of them, we made a blanket series of recommendations there toward it. I believe this is really in the best interest of the city as well as the people that we're trying to serve. We would now basically make it available for government related events.
So that's events that are partnered with the city. I know the Juneteenth committee came last week to Parks and Recs. And so because they're in partnership with the city, that is why that event was approved.
Absolutely. Same with Farmers Market every Wednesday, the National Night Out, and those kinds of events.
Just for clarity, so Mr. Chandler, Wilson Chandler, did a concert in City Center Park. It was a private event, and if I can remember, he hired his own security for that event because it was such a large event, and there were some requirements I remember him having to do so that the city didn't, and I think he did that, just as part of what he was doing.
And to be consistent, that was the type of event that we would probably recommend be held at Gene Clark Park, or one where it's easier to manage and control those.
Thank you. Is there any other questions?
So, Mr. Little, I had a nonprofit event at City Center Park it would have been in 2023, the fall, where we were targeting Harbor Towers residents and we gave them different items like toiletries. So would that also be something that would have to be at a Gene Clark Park? I'm only asking because, you kind of meet the people where they are. So if you're, giving them things that are going to help their quality of life, if you move it, they probably won't have a ride. So just wondering, what is your suggestion for things like that?
I would think for something like that, it would depend on how it's structured. If, in fact, it's a city effort to respond to the needs of the people, then it wouldn't be a problem. Typically, most of the problematic situations we experienced last year were situations that occurred at night. We had no difficulties with daytime events. I mean, Juneteenth ended and celebrated in the park. That's in the daytime. Blossom Time Parade, which both City of St. Joe and Benton Harbor, they end and people celebrate in the park. Those are government events, and also they're taking place in the daytime. They're not causing us any problems. The types of things where we've had problems is events that have gone on nights and so forth. We've had people come in. We had one birthday party that indicated in their application that they would end by 12 and be about 100 people, and 2:30 in the morning, we were still more people coming, and probably the number exceeded 200 or 300.
Commissioner Henry?
On the application, does it ask how many people they're expected or how?
Yes, it does.
It does, okay. Well, that will determine, and the hours are included in that. So you're saying that we're not gonna allow any late night in, the city park?
No, we can have, well, when you say late night, if we're talking about after 12, no. But evening and nighttime events can take place in the parks. It can take place in this one if it's a government-related event. But we're just going to private events. We've got Gene Clark Park, we've got Hall Park, Union Park, Broadway Park is now, I forget, but we've got other parks.
Okay, thank you. So everybody's gonna pay the cleanup fee of $50.
Yes, ma'am.
You notify the farmer's market? Are they gonna have to pay $50?
In our agreement with them, we agreed that that would be our contribution to it, that we would take care of it.
That the city would take care of it? Okay, okay. All right, thank you.
Just have one last comment about the parks. I know when we did the Riverfest, we actually rented a dumpster so that the city would not incur those costs of trash. And so we had we rented the dumpsters and they came and picked up the big dumpster. So that was like $1,200. It wasn't cheap to have that big dumpster there. Bathrooms, we same, to pay for all of those things, so.
And that could be an option if people wanted to pay to have their trash picked up or provide a dumpster or whatever.
Yeah, we provided our own dumpsters, so that cost. And security, we hired Lang Security to actually provide security because we knew the city wasn't able to do so. And then talk with the state police who walked through, some of the county sheriffs walked through and stuff like that. But we didn't put that burden on the city in terms of even security.
And actually, as I was reviewing the ordinance on parks that's been there for some time, one of the provisions in it was if people needed security, they could actually get it through the police department. They would simply have to pay for it, and it articulated a figure.
Just one more question, Chair. There's charging a reasonable service charge. Is that going up or is that going to be the same?
It's going to be, first off, there's no charge now on most of these other parks. We were only charging on Gene Clark Park. Now we're talking about putting a basic charge on the other parks, at least, for people to use them. And we're not talking about exorbitant amounts. It could be $100, $150.
Can you put that in the resolution so we'll know exactly what those charges, reasonable service charges will be?
We could, except that kind of locks you in if you get a larger event where you probably should charge something more. You'd be restricted just to that.
Well, you can put 100 to 500 or something like that, just so we'll know.
We can
need
do
to
that.
know
Sure.
about these things before they come about.
We can certainly do that.
You can? Okay, thank you.
So if I'm understanding what you're saying, is events and not like all-out parties. So if you're partnering with the city to do an event for like the residents, the client, like the citizens here, that's allowable in that.
Well, I'm considering a party an event too. Any gathering of significant numbers of people is an event. Organized types of it.
One year, one of the classes, they did a class reunion out there in City Center Park. So, yeah.
And basically, that's too small a park to do a class reunion in.
It is? But what about
I think it
when
is.
they have the concerts? Like, we just had this, whoever, Albright or somebody there. When we had those kind of concerts, you mean that's too big to be in City Park?
It depends. I mean, we have to know what the particulars are. I mean, like, we've handled the concerts like we had with the Harbor Shores events when they came in, but those are city cooperative events. And it just depends, again, on what all the particulars are to it.
So any event or party that happens in all parks or just City Center Park?
Well, the policy changes relate to all parks, but as far as the restriction in terms, that's basically on City Center Park. If different events apply for other things, we would respond to them in terms of the size of the park that they're talking about. I mean, for instance, we wouldn't want to put a big event with small children out here where they may run out in the street and get hurt or something like that. If they would fit, we would want them to be up here where the children's park is on Pipestone and Britain, or something like that. We will, try and use good judgment in terms of whatever the circumstance calls for, the request of the people.
Will the residents be charged if they having a little family gathering in the June Woods Park or something like that? Will they be charged for it?
No, it's a public park. That kind of thing's not a problem. But if we're talking about that family event suddenly becoming 75, 100 people, and we're doing all kind of other things, and that's an event.
Gotcha.
I just have one more comment, because all of the parks don't have a fee to them. I know Riverview, your Charles Yarborough Park does not have a fee attached to it, because that was brought up saying about that, but it doesn't have a fee attached to it. Okay.
The only one that we were charging a fee on before was Gene Clark Park. Now we want to put a small fee on all of them.
Okay. So Union Field never had a fee attached to it? It was just a cleaning fee, a $250 cleaning fee for each one of them?
That's all.
Okay, so there's a cleaning fee attached to each of them, but there's not but I don't even think that one had a cleaning fee. Yarborough Park didn't have any fees attached to it.
We requested that on all the parks that, with events, they would make a $250 deposit, and they got the whole $250 back if they cleaned it up. But we were picking up the trash and incurring far more and more and more costs. Now, we're still doing the $250 cleaning fee, but they'll get 200 of it back unless there's an exorbitant amount of trash where they may get back 175 of it.
Events also have to have insurance, correct? So they have to provide insurance,
They
but
should
family
provide-
gatherings do not.
Right.
Okay, so every event that's held at the beach here, they have to provide an insurance. I
Right.
know we had to do that.
Yes.
For Yarborough Park.
And one-day insurance typically, it's like, a lot of them are $50 and $60, $40. Yeah, they assess the insurance fee on the information that are given about the size and nature of the event.
That's what we was just talking about. It was like $680 when we did the Riverfest because of the size and the days. Questions in regard to this resolution? None? Commissioner Isom, did you have any questions about it? Okay. All right. Well, I would like to give consensus to move this to the full body for our next meeting. Next item is the resolution adopting the restated Articles of Incorporation of Community Emergency Services. So is this something that Medic One does every year?
I can't say for certain. I don't think so. I think they had one that had been in effect for some time, and now they're doing a new one.
Do you have any?
I can find out.
I think they did a little,
Kaz is in another
Restructuring.
meeting.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. So this is from Cass. Okay.
Madam Chair, will you ask the clerk if there's, what representation does the city have on the medic board? So we'll know. Thank you. That's the only one?
Each municipality has one representative.
Each, and ours is the fire chief. Thank you.
And this, there's a $10 fee, is that a one-time payment or that we're paying for? It says it's final financial impact, $10 per capita plus $1 special assessment this year per capita.
So I believe that Kaz had explained, or the director, Medic One director, had explained when he did the presentation at Public Safety, that there was an increase from $8 and some change to $10 per capita. And the dollar special assessment is to go towards the new vehicles and stuff that they are purchasing. Kaz said it hasn't been since the 1980s. He's done. He can come up if you need him.
So is that, so per capita, what exactly is that? That's your population. So per 8,000, so that's 8,000,
9,100 people times the amount, yeah.
so it's a $9,000 fee.
No, I think it'd be 90,000, wouldn't it, if it's $10 per capita?
So we pay that
Yes, and then
per
the,
year? Or how is that paid?
Not once a year.
We need this because they're picking up our sick residents, so we have to have ambulance service.
I just want to get clarity on the amounts, so that we'll know like what the amounts are that we're paying, so we'll have a clear
Can you put that in the
Understand.
resolution so we'll
Yeah.
know?
Yep. Yep. Clerk Moore for the approval so that the commissioners understand and the residents understand what that cost is for that service. On this particular item?
I do, Honorable Chair. Over the years, Medic has been with us and we've had, over the years, several complaints about how they treated Benton Harbor residents. And I found that there was really only one way to complain or have anyone be held accountable. And you would go to them during their meetings and tell them what your problem was. And they never, to my knowledge, they never corrected it. When you pick up a person at their home and they're sick, and then you drop them off without any help, I thought that was really inhuman. And I did go to them and I asked them, why did that happen? And they told me it didn't happen. And everyone that was involved in the incident said it did happen. So what I want to know is, and I know our chief of fire is going to be involved in it, and I want to make sure that he holds these medics accountable for what they do to our citizens. Because you know our citizens will complain to us or to somebody else, but won't take the next step. But we have to make sure that they're being treated properly. They're still alive, and they repeat the story to me every. They they didn't take them to the hospital. They brought them back and dropped them off at home. He didn't have his shoes on. It was horrible. I mean, this guy repeats this to me every time he talks. You know what they did to me?
Commissioner, I don't understand what you're saying. So the person was picked up because they needed medical attention. So you're saying that the ambulance company, they denied them medical attention?
They
dropped
dropped
him
him
back off?
They dropped him back off at home.
And was a proper complaint filed by this citizen?
I went, he didn't, he complained to me, so I went myself. And they just said that they had no record of the incident because they didn't take him anywhere. So there was no record of it.
Should have been a call, like when you call.
I know that, but I'm just wanna, and then there was another incident down at the high rise, well, two or three incidents down at the high rise. And I just want to make sure that we hold them accountable. And I'm sure when once we tell our fire chief that what could happen, that he will be looking out for our people. That's the main thing that I want. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Chair, I sit on the Public Safety Committee, and I was here for the presentation, and it was a good presentation by, I think, Medic, it was Medic One, right? Yeah. And Cass Merrick, who's chief, sits on that board. He highly recommended this, and, you know, the fees haven't been raised, I think, said 10 years. So he highly recommended this for the city, and so I think it's a good thing for the city, too. Maybe we get better, and plus we get better service.
And our citizens use it more than anybody.
Thank you so much. I will make a recommendation that we move this item to the full commission. Before we adjourn this meeting? Any public comments? None? Excellent. All right, this meeting is adjourned. Thank everyone for coming.